The White House has urged India and Pakistan to avoid escalating their dispute over Kashmir. India says its troops carried out surgical strikes against militants in Pakistan-controlled Kashmir, blaming its neighbour for an earlier attack on an army base. Pakistan said 2 of its soldiers had been killed in clashes and warned of a growing crisis in the region. Well, let's go live to Delhi now and speak to Sky producer Neville Lazarus. Neville, good morning to you. Why did India risk operations in such a sensitive area?
Well, there has been a lot of pressure on the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government since he took over in 2014. He won a landslide victory out here, and one of his main campaigns was the soft attitude taken by successive governments in India on terror and on Pakistan. And when he did win, he tried to reach out to Pakistan, calling the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif, to his inauguration ceremony. Last Christmas, he made an unscheduled visit to Lahore and met with the Prime Minister at a family wedding out there. They've tried to reach out, but since earlier this year, there was an attack on an airbase in which a number of soldiers, military personnel, were killed. And then the latest was the terror attack on a military camp in Uri in Kashmir, in which 18 soldiers died. And there has been a lot of pressure on him for some sort of retribution. But the Indian government has been very careful in making a distinction, saying that these were pinpoint surgical operations on terror groups that were along the line of control and waiting to infiltrate, and it wasn't a military operation.
So what has Pakistan's response been to what India is calling these surgical strikes?
Well, the immediate response from the Pakistan military was that there was no surgical strike. They rejected the whole operation, saying there wasn't anything. The only thing they came out with a statement was there was ceasefire violations, and small arms and some artillery killed 2 of the Pakistani soldiers. India has been very careful. They're waiting for any sort of response from the Pakistani military. They have evacuated civilians along the border in Jammu and Kashmir, in Punjab, Rajasthan, about 10 kilometers from the line of control. They've moved civilians to safer places. For the moment, there hasn't been any sort of response. It leaves Pakistan in a very difficult situation in which if they accepted the fact there were these surgical strikes, it meant that there were terror groups along the line of control on Pakistani soil, and therefore a rejection of the whole operation was a much better idea for them.
And Neville, how great is the danger of a more widespread and serious conflict between these 2 countries?
Well, the tension has escalated to a great account this time because of these surgical operations, which meant there was. We don't know the details of the operations yet, but sources tell us there was paratroopers who went almost 3 kilometers inside of Pakistani territory. And operated against terror groups which were along the line of control. Now, this means there was a ceasefire violations, but according to military personnel who I've spoken to, they've said that these sort of things do happen, but this is the first time that the political establishment in India has gone overtly and supported a military action, however small, however pinpointed, however surgical they are. There has been an outright sort of support of these military operations, small they might be. There has been a great amount of support from all political parties cutting across all lines in India for these operations, because the mood in the nation had become quite great for some sort of retribution.